The shape of the latter had its origin in ancient Chaldea, which was Babylon, and was used as the symbol of the god Tammuz, being in the shape of the mystic Tau, the initial of his name. So the cross, that word cross shouldn't even be in the New Testament. It was a corruption from Christendom and Constantine and the Roman Empire, the Roman Catholic Church, and later the Protestants too, because they kept it going. They never did take that word out of their translations when they were translating it into French and German and other languages. But as we have discussed here, the original word in Hebrew, which was tree, which was est, the Greek word is staros, which means a pole or a stake or a plank or the gallows. So it's good to get different translations of the Bible. That way you have a flavor of different ways of translating, but staying consistent to the Hebrew and the Greek words. That's why it's important to do your research and get the original meanings of the Hebrew and the Greek words. Because Hebrew, the Hebrew scriptures obviously was written in Hebrew. Then you had the Greek Septuagint. Then the New Testament was written from Hebrew to Greek. And then from that into English and other different languages. So we need to know. So get yourself different translations. I have different translations of the New Testament here. I have New International. I have the Living Bible. I have American Standard. I have the New World Translation, which is I highly recommend getting, if you can get your hands on a copy of the New World Translation, you won't see the word cross in there at all, or hellfire, or any of those, immortal soul, any of those other. They have totally cleaned that out of the New Testament because it was not there originally. Okay, so the Hebrew scriptures and the New Testament should go hand in hand in your study of the scriptures. They go hand in hand, but you got to weed out these false teachings that came from Babylon that the Christendom tried to taint and try to hide and put into the scriptures, into the testament of the Most High. So we want to keep that in mind. So let me share one last thought with you, friends. Just want to continue on in this book of the Expository of Dictionary of New Testament Words under staros here, or under cross, and then the Greek word is staros, as we mentioned, connection to Tammuz. But let me just share this last paragraph here. It says here, by the middle of the 3rd century AD, the churches had either departed from or had travestized certain doctrines of the Christian faith. In order to increase the prestige of the apostate ecclesiastical system, pagans were received into the churches apart from regeneration by faith, and were permitted largely to retain their pagan signs and symbols. Hence, the Tau or T in its most frequent form, with the cross being lowered, was adopted to stand for the cross of Christ. So that's why it is fake. It's Christendom. It's part of the demons and the Satan trying to blind us from learning the truth that came down from the Hebrew scriptures, passed on into the HaMashiach, Yeshua, the Messiah, who came right on time according to the prophecies and continued the revelation right into the last book of the Bible. So we cannot ignore the New Testament, because the book of Revelation definitely has a lot to do with what's going on now, and as well as the prophecies in the New Testament. It's a continuation from the prophecies in the Hebrew scriptures. So, brothers and sisters, continue to do your study. Here's a depiction of this false teaching of hellfire, which we already said the original Hebrew and Greek words didn't even mean that, because when a person dies, they're dead. Death is the opposite of life. So you're just sleeping until the time of the resurrection. But this teaching of hellfire, it came from Christendom, and it's in the churches there. So, but don't let that block your mind from learning the New Testament, because there are prophecies in there from HaMashiach, Yeshua, we need to know about. So don't let that stumble you from learning the truth. Here's a depiction of some of our Hebrew Israelites, unfortunately, when they were captured by Sennacherib there and taken back to him to Assyria. These are some of our Hebrew Israelites that were taken, and you can see that they were impaled. And so there's no cross there. That's just what the word meant, was just impalement. So let's continue to do our study, continue to look at the Hebrew Scriptures and the New Testament, put them together, but do your research, do your homework, and make sure that the Hebrew and the Greek words are consistent in your Bible. And I definitely make sure they are consistent in mine. And get yourself a good New Testament version that doesn't have all those tainted words in it. So until next time, we'll talk more about these things and some of the other things that came out of Babylon, such as spiritism, crystal ball reading, horoscope reading, divination, which is trying to predict the future. All these things is a part of Babylon too. So throw all that away. Because like it says in Revelation, it says, "Get out of her, my people," before that tribulation comes. Get out of her, my people, if you do not want to share in her sins. All right, friends, thank you for letting me share this with you. Until next time, y'all be safe.